You can even hug your knees into your chest just to feel into the lower back. Maybe a little gentle rock there from side to side. And then just place your feet back onto the floor. And you can either extend your legs all the way out for Shavasana, or keeping the knees bent with your feet on the floor. Just taking a few moments to just ask yourself how you're feeling today. A few moments to just bring awareness into the way that you're starting your day. And I'd like you to focus on mainly right now your physical body. So as you lie here, just notice how your physical body feels. Notice all the points that are touching the ground. You can even create tiny movements to really feel into the body. Movements at the head or the neck to see if there's any stiffness there today. Or the shoulders, there's tension, tightness. The lower back, the legs. Just getting a general idea and assessment of the physical body. And then just taking a few moments to connect to the breath, that feeling of the breath moving through the physical body, the rise as you inhale, the belly, the ribs, the chest, and that gentle fall on the exhalation, the belly, the ribs, the chest. So this week we're going to work on what we call the koshas, or the sheaths of our being. So in yoga, in the philosophy of yoga, they believe that we are layers, like an onion. And right at the very core of us is our spiritual center. It's our essence, who we are. But all the outer layers, the outermost layer being the physical part of us, the one that sometimes we associate only with, is just another gateway into a deeper layer until we go in and in and in. So today we're focusing on that first layer, the gross part of us, and the physical layer. They call it the food body because whatever we put in is what is comprised of. This outer layer is comprised of the food that we eat. It is also fueled by the food that we eat. Sometimes we look down and we can see a remainder of the food that we eat still there in the body. But it's the very physical form, and I always say that through the physical, we really can affect the mental, the emotional, we get into a deeper part of us. It's through the physical that we can access the other layers. The more we make space in the body, the more we make space in our heart, in our mind, in our lives. Let's just take one more breath here into this physical body on a Monday morning. Big sigh. And then we're going to stretch the legs out if they're not already. And interlace your fingers together. So we're also going to talk about mudras this week. So placing our fingers together is kind of like this seal of the hands. And then when we flip the palms backwards, it's actually very energizing. Pressing the palms backwards, you flip the hands towards the wall behind you. Just start to stretch your arms. You hug your biceps in towards your ears. You're pushing into the palm of your hand. You're spreading your fingers nice and wide. So keep that, and then start to add the legs. Point the toes, stretching through the tops of your feet, the tops of your legs, the abdomen. Every time you inhale, it's a deep inhale, and every time you exhale, it's a gentle sigh. One more of these big, deep breaths, stretching the palms of the hands. Then exhale, bring the lower back to the floor. Draw your knees into your chest, hands over your shins, maybe a little rock from side to side. And then we're going to separate the knees, and then let your knees move forward, and then bring them back into your body. So we're just going to make some circles here. Pull the knees into your chest, separate them, and let them move forward again. Good, and just keep doing that with your breath. So it's really important as we address the physical body. There are a few things important. One is the most obvious, keeping muscle tone, keeping strength in the body and flexibility in the body. Now let's reverse those circles the other way so that we can move through life more easily. We don't get injured. But also the muscle tone and the flexibility helps to keep the energy channels open, the energy pathways, the meridians, even just the nerves. So we affect our nerves when we affect the physical, muscular body. And that's all important for the next layers to come. Good, let's stop at the center, just split the knees apart, grab hold to your inner ankles, and we're just gonna circle the inner ankles. Circle your whole ankle, not just the inner ankles, but starting to roll your feet around. But also the joints. So the joints are really important to address too. Always making sure that the joints are moving. If you know, I say a lot that motion is lotion. So by keeping the joints moving, we ward off that seizing like Tin Man. We have to oil ourselves now and again, or we start to creak. The more we move the joints, just little movements, circles, flexion, extension, keeps everything lubricated. Perfect. Then let's take our feet to the ground. Open our arms in line with our shoulders, with the palms of the hands facing upwards to the sky. Deep breath in here. As you exhale, start to lift your feet off the floor. Pull your knees into the chest. Inhale. And as you exhale, lower down to the right, but just hover above the ground. So you're not lowering all the way down. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling over to the left. Hovering just above the ground. Inhale. We're going to do a few rounds of these. It's really great for toning up the whole of the back, so all of the back muscles, the side oblique muscles, the core. Good. And you can keep it like this with the knees bent, or if you want to take it a level up, so making it a little bit harder, you can extend one leg. So as you come back to the center, on your way over to the left, extend your right leg, and then take the legs to the left. So it's the opposite leg that's going to extend. Back to center on the inhale. As you go to the right, extend the left leg and take it over to the right. And if you're really daring and brave, you can do both legs at the same time, but you might not go as low or you might not be able to hover if you go too low. Good, let's make this our last round. And then we're just going to place the feet back to the floor. Take a moment here. Bring the feet a little closer together and let your knees drop open. Letting the knees fall apart, but the soles of your feet together so you're in this Baddha Konasana shape. Yeah, and you're just letting the legs fall to gravity. And it might be useful to actually take your fists underneath the very tops of the thighs, particularly if you're feeling that the inner thighs are really tight, that there's a lot of strain in the groin. You want to protect and support that. Lengthening through the back of the neck. And then just go back into breathing slowly and deeply and really connecting to feeling the rise and fall of the breath. Let's take one more breath here. Feeling the navel lift as the belly expands, the ribs open, the chest expand and fill with the breath. And then emptying all of that out. Good. And then hug the knees back in. You can use your hands. Squeeze the thighs back into your belly, knees into your chest. And we're going to place the feet down to the floor underneath the knees, separated about hip distance apart. So ready for our bridge pose. The knees and feet are hip distance apart. Arms come down by the side of the body. Let's just do a couple of rolling bridges to wake up the spine. the backs of the legs, the glutes. So you're going to push into your heels on your inhalation. Lift your hips up to the sky, lifting all the way up so your chest starts to come towards your chin. The weight comes to your shoulders. And then exhale, roll your spine back to the floor. So link that movement to the breath, inhaling, lifting the body up. And exhaling to lower down. Keep going like this. So as we're working with the koshas this week, I'm going to use the cues that I give you in different layers. So today the cues are very physical and anatomical. So as you lift up, I want you just to feel that you're pushing down into your shoulders, and you can feel pushing down into the back of your head. Good. As you lower down, it's like you're dropping a string of pearls. And as you press up, feel like there are magnets between the inner thighs, just hovering the legs towards the middle. Exhaling, lowering down. So we bring our awareness to the physical actions of the body in the posture. And then that's the gateway that opens us up into the deeper layers. But first, we have to address the physical. We have to address the alignment, the muscle tone. And then that leads to more a subtle refinement, a subtle action. Good, let's do one more, and then we're gonna hold here at the top. So pressing down into the tops of the shoulders, pressing down into the arms, the heels. Feel the magnets, like you're hugging a pillow between your thighs. You start to feel the glutes turn on. Sorry, Mary, you can come down and rest anytime you need to. We're gonna inhale now, take the arms up to the sky like a zombie. You're just reaching your fingertips towards the ceiling. And as we hold this bridge, we're gonna circle the wrists a couple of times. Again, motion is motion, circling the wrists just to help ease into the day. If you're getting ready to work a lot, type a lot, this is gonna be very useful for you. Maybe there's some cracking, maybe there's some grinding. Mary, you can just do this on the floor if your butt and glutes have had too much work, 8 hours on that bike. Good, you can just keep your hips on the ground. And then we're gonna inhale, lift up a little bit higher into your bridge. Take your arms up and over your head. And then as you exhale, lower everything down. Slowly, 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 just release that all to the ground. Hug your knees back into your chest and feel the back body lengthening. So giving a nice stretch to what we just strengthened. Maybe a little rock from side to side. Good, now we're gonna do that bridge again. Again, Mary, you can just stay. Or even Mary, you can place a pillow underneath your hips, or anyone else that doesn't want an active bridge. You can make this restorative, just placing a prop, a book or a block or a pillow underneath the sacrum so that you're supported in the bridge pose. But you still get that lovely opening of the front body. So if you're not there already, start to build up your bridge, pushing down through your heels. A little squeeze of the glutes to help lift the hips up. And then you're pushing down through your shoulders. Good. Take your arms back up to the sky again. So your hands are reaching to the ceiling just above your chest. And then your right hand, you're gonna flip the palm, the underneath side of your hand to the sky. So your fingers are pointing backwards to the wall behind you. Use your left hand to pull those fingers down as if you're trying to touch your fingertips to your elbow, the inner elbow. So you're showing the palm of your hand to the ceiling, and you're getting a nice big stretch for the front side, the inner side of that forearm. Good. Keep pressing into your heels. Keep squeezing the glutes a little bit. And if this is too much, you could always relax the glutes a little, and that will take some of the fire out of the pose, but you might want to work the glutes. Good. Switch to the other side. So now right hand still, you're going to take the palm of the hand to face the floor like someone is about to kiss your hand. And you're going to pull the fingertips now towards the inner side of the arm, the inner side of the forearm. And that's going to lengthen and stretch the back of the forearm. pressing the wrist to the sky. Keep lifting up your hips. Think of the pillow between your thighs. Don't drop it. Keep hugging in towards it. And then exhale, release. Release the arms to the floor. Release the back to the ground. And just take a moment there. Let's bring the feet together and drop the knees open to the sides of the room. So coming back into that reclined Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together. The knees are apart. Just breathing as we release that. So we're putting some focus on the hands and the fingers today because they hold a lot of pressure points, energetic points, but also our hands are really connected to the neck and to the shoulders because the nerves that run from the vertebra of the head, the neck and the shoulders run all the way down the arms and into your fingers as well. So what happens in your hands can affect what you feel in your neck and your shoulders, and what happens in your neck and your shoulders can really have an effect on the hands as well. Okay, let's do the other side. Pulling the knees back in, feet underneath your knees. We're gonna lift back up into that bridge pose. You can always make it a supported bridge if you need to. Think about that pillow between the thighs. Just get a little hug in. Lift the hands up towards the ceiling. And then this time the left hand is gonna open up to the sky first. So the fingers are facing behind you. The arm is completely straight. Use your right hand to pull those fingers back. And you should feel a really good stretch through the inner wrist, inside of the wrist. Good. And at the same time, we're toning and strengthening the back body. And we can keep it still, or you could even on this round start to come up and down. So you have a little rest as you lower the hips and then you press back up. So different types of work. You have the isometric contraction where you're just holding, and then you have the pulsing, the lifting and lowering. So you're going to be working and firing different muscle fibers as you create the different movements. Let's take one more breath here. And then we're going to take the palm of the hand, of that left hand, face it down towards the floor. So your fingers are facing forward, like someone's kissing your hand, and then pull those fingers down towards the inner elbow. Arm is straight. And now you should feel that the forearm, the big bulky forearm muscle on the top of that lower arm is getting a nice stretch. And you can hold that bridge or you can just release it and then come back up. You take the rolling bridges. Good. Just another 2 breaths here, wherever you are. And then on your last breath, slowly release. Release the hips, release the arms. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop open. Coming back into that Baddha Konasana pose. And just noticing the way the body feels, the physical sensations that you're getting right now. And you might even be tapping into the more subtle sensations. As the more deeply we work the physical body, that's when we start to get through to those different layers. That's why people become so addicted to physical activity like running. And running quite a distance. We really have to break through those layers. But if you've ever gone for a long run, you know at the end of that run, you just feel in this state of bliss and peace. But you have to work through a lot of layers before you get to that bliss and peace. You have to work through the physical layer, then a lot of stuff comes up, your mind starts to clear, and before it clears, all the clutter and junk comes to the surface. And sometimes the feelings and thoughts and emotions come up, but then they get cleared as well. And then you go into the bliss, you go into the peace. Let's bring our knees together here. Give yourself one more big hug. And then we're gonna rock and roll ourselves all the way up to all fours. So taking a couple of times to get there. So you're really massaging through the whole of the spine. And then when you finally do, crisscross the ankles and come onto your hands and knees. Good. So here's we're working on this Annamaya Kosha, the food body Kosha. It's really all to do with anatomy, the way we are literally aligning and shaping our bodies. I'm just putting my microphone back on. So here, the alignment is that your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. And I say that all the time, but why is that so? You might have never heard me explain why we make sure that the shoulders are over the wrists, knees are under the hips. It's just so that the skeleton is really aligned. When our skeleton is aligned, the joints are aligned, so everything's going to just work more efficiently. So that we have to use less energy to hold our body in this shape. Because as soon as we take our hands more forward, and you can try this, and then pitch your body weight forward, you're kind of in this half plank pose. And then there's a lot more muscular tension. There's a lot more tone in the core and the shoulders. Whereas if we just align things, align the skeleton and the joints, there's a lot more ease. And then from there, we can start to explore more of the body. So let's come into our cat-cows, inhaling, lift the chin, lift your tailbone, feel that stretch through the front of the body. And as you exhale, curl the chin under, tuck the tailbone, feel the stretch in the back body. Just continue moving in your own time with the breath, inhaling as you lift, chin and tailbone. Exhaling as you round, curling the chin towards chest, tailbone tucks under. Feeling the grounding through your hands. Feel as you round your back, you're really pushing into the hands, and even the tops of your shins move more to the floor, your feet. Inhale, feel that nice big stretch and opening of the front body. The shoulders draw back. Exhaling again, one last time here, rounding the back. Inhaling back into your cow pose, stretching the whole front of the body. And then coming back into this all fours position. Again, making sure everything's nice and aligned. Inhale, take the right arm up to the sky and just pause here for a moment. So we're in this little twist, beautiful. And then feel from your navel, you're twisting a little bit more from your hand. So feel that whole line opening, even reaching up to the sky a little bit more. It's just going to create that twist a little deeper, a little bit more space. And then taking the right arm, thread it underneath the left to lie the shoulder and the side of your head on the ground. Now just keep your left elbow bent for a moment. So your left hand is on the floor, palm of the hand is on the floor. Your left elbow is pointing to the sky. Okay. Now we're going to use that left hand. If you push into the left hand, you can start to pull your left shoulder back. And as you pull your left shoulder back, it rolls more on top of your right shoulder. And if you have that anatomical cue, that muscular action, you start to align more through that back of the heart. The thoracic spine starts to rotate more. Left shoulder over the right. So if I was going to move into talking about the energy, you're aligning more the energy of that heart chakra from last week. But we have to do that through the physical action of pressing into that left hand to really roll that left shoulder on top of the right. Take one more breath here. And then reverse, come out of that, pushing into the hands, back into all fours, and just give your tail a little wag from side to side. And then let's do the other side. So the left arm is going to reach up to the sky, pushing into that right arm quite a lot. So awareness to that right hand, awareness to the left arm, reaching to the sky, navel to fingertips stretch. And then taking that left arm underneath, lying on top of the shoulder, lying on top of the side of the head, and placing the palm of the hand to the floor. Right elbow is up to the sky, so there's a 90-degree angle. Pressing into the right hand to draw that right shoulder over your left. So it's a strong anatomical muscular action that is happening. And then notice everything else. Notice the breath. Notice what's happening in your hips. So bring awareness to your pelvis at the moment and notice if your hips have swung over to one direction. Can you try to pull them back in alignment? Usually it's pulling the right hip crease back. And this is a strong twist, so that right shoulder is really drawing back. It's as if your left rib cage was trying to peek upwards to the sun, to the sky. And then release, coming back out of that, back onto all fours. Let's just make a big circle with our booty. So we're gonna paint the biggest sunflower in the back of your wall as you ever could. Make a really, really big circle from your hips too. So the whole body is moving, but really it's the hips that are moving in that circle. And then take them the other way around. You'll even notice the same movement as cat-cow. There's a little bit of a tuck and then a little bit of an arch. Good. Coming back to all fours. Beautiful. Inhale, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Exhale, round the back one more time. And then coming back into all fours. We're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips into our downward facing dog. Feel that we're pushing into our hands to press everything back. And then start to just create a little bit of movement, space here through the hamstrings, feeling into the calves. Just noticing how the body feels on a Monday morning. Maybe a big sigh. Check in with your head. What's your head doing? Can you relax your head? Can you let it hang completely so that the back of the neck is really long? Lift the sit bones up just a little bit higher as you pull the thighs back. Pull the chest back, pull the calves back, the heels back and down. And then let's slowly walk our feet to our hands, coming all the way to the top of our mat into a forward fold, keeping the knees bent, letting the body drape over the legs, nice and forward. The body is long. Maybe there's a little sigh. Maybe there's a little sway. And then let's roll ourselves to come all the way up, bending the knees, rolling the body one vertebra at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Until you can feel the skeleton of the body align and stack. The shoulders lift to your ears. Pull them back and let them slide down. Inhaling again. Shrug the shoulders, lift them up, pull them back, and slide them down. Beautiful. So stepping into your Tadasana so that your feet are at least hip distance apart. If not, they're going to be just slightly wider, feet facing forward again. So if our toes are angled out slightly, it just means that all the joints are not aligned. Your knee joints are going to point in the same direction as your toes, usually. So that way your knees are no longer aligned with your hips. We kind of want everything to be pointing and facing forward. Good. So then inhale from there, take your arms up to the sky, grab hold of your right wrist, lengthen through the right side of the body. So pressing into that right foot up and then go over and then holding into your side bend for a moment. And then think, how can I create more space here? Can you root down into your feet and feel that you're opening up through the sides of your waist, not just the right waist, but also lifting up through the left waist as well. How can you create space for the head and the neck? The more space we create in the physical body, the more space we have in our minds, the more space we have for our heart, the more space we have to bring in those qualities of bliss and joy. And then on your next inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, just release the arms for a moment. Inhaling to bring them back up, prepare. Exhale, hold on to that left wrist. Inhale, stretch up and take all of that space over and then pause here. Check in with the body, rooting down through your feet, lengthening and lifting up through the side of the body, checking in with the head. The more space we create, the more spacious we feel on the outer layer, the body, but also in those very subtle and refined layers of ourselves. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, release your arms down. This time we're going to interlace them behind us. Press the knuckles towards the ground, straightening our arms, and then start to pull your shoulders back, opening through the front body, the chest. Rooting down into our feet, keeping the chest lifted and open. Inhale. As you next exhale, bend your knees, ripple the body forward as if you're lying your belly on your thighs, looking towards the space between your legs so the back of the neck is long. And the arms might even just be resting on your lower back if you're really, really super tight there today. Or you can start to press your knuckles more skybound, skyward, up towards the ceiling. Maybe they even want to come over your head as if you're going to touch your thumbs to the floor. Take one more big breath there. And then with soft knees, come up, lift your chest, inhale, rise all the way up, maybe even a little back bend. And exhale, release. Give everything a little wiggle. And we're going to step open now to the long edge of the mat, preparing for warrior two, first with the right foot. So the right foot's going to turn towards the short edge of the mat. The back foot's going to turn in as well, very angled slightly. And then you find your warrior two lunge. Good. The traditional warrior two, nothing fancy, but just bringing awareness to the alignment of our feet. As always, the right heel aligns with that back middle arch. Now that is the traditional way that is written in books, but there are more people that are starting to teach from more of an intuitive perspective. So it might even not serve your body to be in this really traditional standard way, because let's face it, we're not standard. We're not made in factories, so we all are identical and alike. So if you feel that you naturally take your foot slightly off to the side and wider, I want you to explore that. Some people don't even have a full angle straight with the front leg. Sometimes they angle the toes more towards the corner. But it's really for you to be decisive to decide if that's creating more space. Does that create a flow in your body that's more conducive to enhancing your state, energetically, physically, emotionally? So play with your body and your postures. One size really doesn't fit all. Good. So finding your best warrior two, sinking and settling into that. Shoulders are softening. The spine is completely upright, so it's not angled or leaning in any way. Good. And then reverse it. Inhale, taking that right arm up to the sky and lean back. Opening up through the right side of the body. Keep lunging forward with your right leg. Good. Spinning the chest more towards the front of the mat. And then come back into your warrior two. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Reach the arms up and over. Exhaling back into warrior two and then into side angle. So lying the right forearm onto that right thigh. Left arm comes up and over the ear. Pressing into that back foot, the left foot, as you reach the left arm over the head. It's nothing new. All these traditional postures that we do, these shapes that we create to make that space. Inhale, press into that right foot, come all the way up. Straighten that right leg and let's go into triangle pose. Lengthen, lift out of the waist, out of the feet, and take all of that space over. And either resting the hand on the shin, the thigh, the floor, but reach up strongly through that left arm, that top arm. Pushing down into your back foot, and you can feel that creates a little bit more space. Think about pressing the crown of your head forward. And we're setting up the physical body so that we are in the best place to breathe. So have you set your physical body in the posture that allows your breath to be fluid, not stagnant or holding? You should be able to breathe easily here. And if not, how can you place your body in a way that's more conducive to that? Inhale, rise, come all the way up. Exhale, find warrior two again. Inhale, straighten the right leg, arms up and overhead. Exhale, back into warrior two. Two more times like that. Little flow of breath and body. Inhaling up, legs straight, arms overhead. Exhaling back into warrior two. Good. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. And then we're going to inhale, straighten the arms, pivot the right foot back towards the long edge of the mat, and then just pivot your left foot towards the back of the mat, finding warrior two on the back leg, so the other side, adjusting your feet as you need to. And then just have a look for a moment. Does this traditional setup work for you? Left heel aligned with that back middle arch. Or does something else work a little bit better? Does it feel good to have a bit of a wider stance with your left foot being slightly behind the right foot? Does it feel good if your foot is completely straight so that the knee is still pointing in the same direction as the toes towards the front of the room? Or does it feel good to have a slight angle in, but your knee will always be facing the same direction as the toes? Good. Once you find that for yourself, make sure the spine is nice and long, the shoulders are relaxed, holding strong in your warrior two. So you should feel a little bit of something happening in your hips and in your thighs. And if not, can you create more muscular effort? Pull the hips back more so you feel that more strongly. And then reverse it. Hold that lunge. Inhale. Left arm reaches up to the sky. Reverse it. Pause here. Send the left knee forward again so it is lining more over the ankle. Spin the chest more towards the top of the mat or that left foot and create more space. Rather than collapsing, create more space. Lift up and out the body. And then go back into your warrior two. Inhale, left leg straightens, arms come up overhead. Exhaling back into that warrior two to tip forward for side angle. Left forearm comes to the thigh. Right arm comes up and over, reaching the side and along the ear. Now spinning the palm of the hand down so that the pinky of your hand starts to spin more towards the floor. The pinky edge of the hand spins to the floor so that your elbow is starting to spin more towards the side of the room you're facing. Your armpit is spinning down towards your face. You get this lovely opening of that external rotation in the arm bone. Rooting strongly through your feet, spinning your ribs towards the sky. And then inhale, come all the way up, straightening that left leg. Good, so now we're preparing for triangle pose. Lengthen, lift, inhale. Exhale, go forward with that straight leg coming into your triangle pose. So we're thinking about the physical body right now. Think about that right hand trying to stack over the right shoulder. It might not go all the way there. But you're using that right hand as if you're holding on to a rope on the ceiling. Imagine that. You're holding onto a rope, and that is allowing you to lift up the weight and the pressure from the lower body. And when you can lift off that weight and pressure of the lower body, of that left hand having to be heavy on your leg, you can then open up and create more space. There's more freedom in the pose. The legs are strong. The breath should be flowing with ease without any hesitation. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale, go back into that warrior two 3 times with the breath. Inhale, straighten the leg, arms up and overhead. Exhaling back into warrior two. Inhaling, arms up, straighten the leg. Exhaling back into warrior two. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Good, now inhale, take the arms up and overhead. Straighten the leg, turn back to the long edge of the mat. Toes come in, heels come out. And then bring your hands to your hips. Toes in, heels out, and that's going to create space for the sacrum, the lower back. Inhale, lift the chest. And as you exhale, tip forward, stick your butt back, but pull the chest forward as you come down and down and down and down and down. And then just let your arms hang, let your head hang. And just start to make sure the neck is loose. And we can start it with arms just draping like a rag doll. Or bring your hands back a little bit more so that your palms are getting flatter to the floor. And if that's not possible, it's okay. Just fingertips can be on the ground. And if it's still not possible to touch the floor, you can always take your feet wider apart. The wider your legs, the easier it is to get to the ground. Good. With the hands on the floor, if you push down into the ground, and as if you're trying to slip your hands forward, but the sticky mat's going to catch you, you're going to get this little bit more action, this leverage that's going to pull the body closer together. Now let's work with the cues of engaging muscles here, because when we engage the fronts of the thighs, the backs of the thighs are going to open a little bit more. They work in that tangent way. So as we engage the quadriceps, squeeze your quadriceps, the fronts of your thighs, so that you're lifting up your kneecaps. Just notice if that creates more opening through the backs of your legs. Good. And then if you engage your abdominal muscles, which are hip flexors, does that pull you closer into your legs? So create a little squeeze of the core. Does that give you more forward tilt? Engage the quads, engage the core, using that leverage of your hands pushing down. And are you slowly starting to tighten up the body? Beautiful. Release that. Take your hands to your hips. Lift and lead with the chest, inhaling to rise, to come all the way up. And exhale, releasing the shoulders. We're just going to heel toe the feet together, coming back to the center of the mat. Interlacing the fingers. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, above our head. Flip the palms up towards the ceiling and just press up to the sky. And as you press up to the sky, push down into your feet. And I want you to feel that you're trying to separate your hands. So you're keeping them glued together. They're interlaced, but I want you to kind of create this pulling action at the same time holding them in place. And when you do that, you're going to just get this nice, gentle opening through the shoulders. Inhaling, keep rooting through your feet as you reach up to the sky. And maybe even look up towards the ceiling. And as you do that, you'll feel the front of the belly, the torso expand, lengthen. Good. One more breath here. Maybe inviting more of a back bend. And then coming back to center, bring your hands down in front of your chest. Flip the palms so now they're facing towards you. And you're going to push outwards. So your knuckles are moving forward and round your body. Invite this rounding through the upper shoulders and the upper back, chin to your chest. And we're just going to do that 2 times. This is quite invigorating, very good for waking up in the morning. We're going to inhale, flip the palms, open the chest. Exhale, round the back, so your knuckles are now pressing forward. Push the hands forward away from your chest. Inhaling again, open up. Exhale, flip the hands, palms towards you, knuckles away, push and round. Good. Did I say that was the last time? I have a tendency to do that. Let's do one more. Open up and exhale, push and round. Soft bend in the knees. And then inhale, up to the sky, release the arms, take them all the way back down, and let's come to the floor. We're going to come into a nice, simple, cross-legged position. Good. I can see you now. So coming into a nice, simple, cross-legged position. Soles, no, that's not a cross-legged position. That's Baddha Konasana. Cross-legged position, so one leg is in front of the other. Perfect. And just notice which leg is in front of the other, because we are going to be switching them around in a moment. And then we're just going to take our hands out in front of us and do a nice, easy, casual forward fold. And you're going to just go into that forward fold as much as you need to go into it today. That was a big yawn, Helen. Welcome to Monday. So I want you to feel here again, tuning into the physical body. Feel your sit bones. Can you pull your sit bones back? Pull the sit bones back into space. Can you feel them rooting down a little bit more? And then from there, traction the body a little bit longer. Walk your hands a little bit more forward. Release your head and feel your shoulders for a moment. Feel the shoulders opening across the back. so that there's space between the shoulder blades. Good. Walk your hands back up towards your legs. Now you're going to go over towards the top leg. So whichever leg is in front, you're going to turn in the direction of that knee and come into a side or a diagonal forward fold. So you're going to come over to the side, the same direction as that front knee, walking the right hand or whatever hand's in forward or in front a little bit further forward. So basically, whatever knee you're going towards, the opposite hip, the opposite side body is doing all of the lengthening and stretching. And then how can you create subtle refinements here so that you can open a little bit more, so you can create just a little bit more space? Good, and then come back to center. Forward fold just one more time. See if that allows you just to go a little bit deeper. And then we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. And we're going to pick this leg up. So you're going to pick it up, holding one hand on the knee, one hand on the foot, and just give it a little rock from side to side. Good. And then we might just stay here, a little rocking from side to side. Or you might start to make a little bit of a circular movement. So you're kind of lifting the leg up. And when you lift the leg up, you're just accessing different muscles of that back hamstring leg. Or see if you can put the foot into your inner elbow, drawing your lower leg closer to your chest. Like you're playing the guitar. Just going to take one more moment here just to really open up through that hip. Lovely. And then I'd like you to put your foot on top of your left leg or whatever is the bottom leg. So you're going to take that ankle on top of the bottom leg near the knee, so right on the upper part of the thigh. Now your leg might look like this, right? And that's completely okay. So if it looks like that, there's nothing to change just yet, okay? It will just mean that you don't go all the way forward. If you can, start to sink that knee down and walk your bottom ankle more forward so that your shins are starting to align. They're becoming more horizontal and parallel to each other. Yeah? Even if that knee is way, way up here. Now let's all take our hands behind us for a moment. And then rooting into your hands, just lift up your chest. Even if that knee is here, it's okay. And then you're just going to start to lean your body close to the leg. Now that might just look like that. It might be a tiny lean. You might be able to lean really far forward. Maybe your hands can come forward and you can go all the way down. Now, if what I just said scares you because it feels too intense, it's okay. Just stay up here, stay upright. If this knee is really lifted, you'll still get the same feeling, the same physical benefit from the pose, even if you don't lean forward. Good, but we have to be in this shape of this external rotation of the left, of that top ankle over the bottom leg, whichever leg that is for you. Good, really, really deep pose for those hips. Let's just take one more breath here. And then slowly walk your hands back. Come back to a neutral position. Take your hands behind you, fingers face towards you. You're going to unravel your legs. Remember which leg was in front. Coming into your boat pose, so your hands can be behind you for support. Or you can take the hands away, rooting into the sit bones, lifting up through the top of your head, softening the shoulders, so really strengthening, toning for the core. And then we're going to cross to the other side. So bringing whichever leg was behind now in front. Bring your hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest. And then slowly start to come forward into your forward fold. Beautiful. And again, I want you to feel your sit bones heavy on the ground. So keep pulling back through the sit bones. Feel the shoulders soften, the breath deepening. Take one last breath here. And walking your hands back towards you. You're going to walk towards the knee of that front leg. So coming into this diagonal stretch, walking your arms out into that diagonal stretch. And then sinking the opposite hip down and feel that whole side of the body lengthening. And this is where you inquire, what can I do in my body to create more space, to create more ease? Usually it's by taking that front arm a little bit further forward. But maybe you're creating tension somewhere else in the body, or maybe you're spinning the chest too upwards to the sky, and it feels more spacious when we start to spin the chest and ribs down to the floor. Inquiring how we can create more space in the body so that we create more space through the mind and the heart. And slowly walking your hands back up. Go back to the center and then forward one more time, maybe reaching just a little bit further. And then walking your hands all the way back. Good. And then we're going to take that leg again one more time. So holding on to the knee, holding on to the foot, a little gentle rock from side to side. Maybe some circles. Maybe you're already bringing the foot into the inner elbow so you can bring the leg in closer to the chest. The closer we get to it, the deeper we're going to go into the outer hip. Perfect. Then when you're ready, start to untuck your bottom foot so it's not tucked into your sit bone, probably like it was. It's going more forward. That shin is aligning more straight. Then you can take that top foot on top of that bottom leg, even if it's way up here. And if it is way up there, sometimes it's nice to take a pillow or cushion, a blanket, just to give you some structure underneath that side. Maybe the hands are just going to stay behind you and you're going to lift the chest up and that's going to give you enough. Or maybe you can start to bring the knee down as you come forward. Now don't give up. Even if your knee is really, really high, you're exactly where you need to be. You're in the pose and the shape that is exactly and precisely where you need to be. And you should feel something, right? If you didn't feel something, the knee would drop down and you would go forward. But there must be some resistance there that you're working through. Work through that resistance. Sometimes in yoga we get frustrated, and if we don't create the perfect shape, we give up and we don't go back to that pose. But the pose that we struggle with the most, that we dislike the most, is the one we need the most. So if this is that pose for you, stay there. Stay with it. Breathe into it. It's your body's way of telling you that it needs some space here. Take one more breath. And then slowly coming all the way back up. And then you can just take those legs in any old way that you want, maybe crisscrossing them into a more comfortable way. Let the dominant leg go on top. And we're just going to finish with a little twist. So inhaling, the arms rise. Exhaling, twisting over to your right side. Right hand goes behind you, lifting up through the top of your head. The spine should be completely upright and erect rather than leaning or tilting to one side. Then inhale, the arms come back up as you go forward. Exhaling around to the other side. Think about this like rinsing out your dish towel after doing the dishes, getting all that final sediment out. And then back to center, inhale, reaching up to the sky. And as you exhale, bring your hands back to the heart. And then we're going to take our first mudra. So this mudra is called the Pran mudra. And it's the little finger and the ring finger. They curl in. And the thumb can either go to the tips of the finger, but some find it more powerful if you come and bring the thumb to the fingernails, so on top of the fingernails. But if that's not really possible, you can bring them to the tips of your fingers. And then your pointer finger and middle finger are extended, so they're energetically extended out. It's like you're creating rabbit ears. Little finger, ring finger, you close that with the thumb, and then just place those hands on your knees, on your legs. Getting comfortable, closing your eyes, just taking a few moments to sit. And this mudra, this energetic seal of the hands, it works in the same way as if you think of reflexology or acupuncture, acupressure. It works on the meridians, but it works truly through the nervous system. As I mentioned earlier, the nerves of the body are usually very intertwined. They intersect, they cross. So the nerves that run through our hands connect directly to the vertebra, to the central nervous system found in the spinal cord or spinal column. And along that, that's where all of the body's organs, tissues, muscles are also running past. So there's a moment where they all combined, they all intersect and meet. So they have this opportunity of exchanging information, exchanging energy. So what we do with our hands can have a direct effect on our nervous system, on other parts of the body. So as we create the mudra, just for a moment, I just want you to feel what effect this has for you. What are you feeling right now as you create this gesture with your hands? And rather than tuning into the subtle qualities of that, today we're focusing on just the physical. So what physical benefits do you get from this pose, from this mudra? And if it feels beneficial for you, stay with it. If it doesn't feel beneficial for you, then you can release it and come into what feels opening for your body. What is conducive to alertness, vitality, presence, and awareness. And then as we sit here for the last final few moments, sitting in our stillness, I'd like you to meditate upon a sensation in your body. Whether it's the shoulders or the sensation of your seat. Maybe it's the sensation of the breath. But I'd like you to spend just 2 minutes meditating on that sensation and letting that sensation be the gateway, the doorway into other layers, other realms of awareness and consciousness to you. Maybe by meditating on that sensation, you're finding simply more clarity of mind, more calming of that persistent thought cycle of our mental body. Or maybe it's a gateway towards the bliss body, whereas we still our mind to one point, we open the doorway to that inner ecstasy, inner joy, inner peace. And just take one last moment here. Just noting all that you feel in your physical body. And noting your posture, the way you're sitting. If we feel open, if we feel ready, able, willing, confident. For our physical body is direct access into how we feel emotionally, how we feel either alert or engaged, or if we feel tuned off, switched off, whether we feel energized or tired. What you do with your physical body is going to have a direct effect on many levels and layers of yourself, even down to the food that we consume. I know on a Monday I always feel a little less energized and open because on the weekend I tend to let go a little and treat myself. But that food energy has a different effect on my prana, my energetic levels. So notice today if that rings true for you too. And if you're feeling in a slump, if you get up and just move the physical body, stretch, create space, get the blood flowing, does that awaken the brain again? Does that awaken your alertness? If you're feeling down and low, maybe you're starting to slump, can you stand up and open the chest and open the heart? Does that open your emotional state? So how can you connect the physical body to a deeper, more subtleness to you all throughout the day? Release the mudra of your hands, just wiggle your fingers if they're still there. Bring your hands to your heart, take a deep breath in. And as you sigh, as you exhale, just bowing your head to your thumbs. Anjali Mudra, this mudra of deepest honor, respect, gratitude. And with deepest honor, respect, and gratitude to you, thank you for waking up this Monday morning. Namaste. Have a good day. And I look forward to practicing with you tonight, doing more physical stuff on the Annamaya Kosha, or even tomorrow where we start to work into the pranic kosha, pranamaya kosha. Have a beautiful Monday. Bye, everybody. Oh, wrong computer.